those are the reasons why I do juvenile defense. When I was in college, I took a juvenile delinquency class. And as part of that class, we were required to go to court and watch juvenile proceedings. I had never really been to court before. I'd never really watched court before. While I was sitting there in that court hearing, I got to see Judge Trumpeter. Judge Trumpeter was down in Roanoke, which is where I went to college, and he was handling a huge docket of juvenile cases. During one of the cases that I was handling, the judge looked at the door where the jail cell was, and he pointed to it, and he looked at the juvenile and he said, "Do you want to go there?" And the kid was crying and said no. And he was like, "Because if I put you in there, you're not going to see your family and you're not going to be able to do what you want to do." And he just kind of lectured the juvenile. And then what he did at the end of that case was he said, "I'm going to put you in there so that you see what it feels like." And he put the juvenile back in that jail cell. You heard the metal doors clank shut. You heard him crying and screaming for his parents. His parents were upset as well. But this was a kid that had been getting out of hand. He wasn't obeying the probation rules. He wasn't obeying rules at home. And he'd never had a real court consequence. So the judge used the jail cell to give him a taste of what it's going to be like if he keeps disregarding the law and not following the school rules, his parents' rules, probation rules, and the rules just in general in Virginia and the United States. The juvenile was not in there for very long. He was only in there for a few minutes. But I remember watching it and having my eyes be wide and just saying, wow, I can't believe this is what happens in the law. And I remember thinking, I hope this juvenile learns his lesson so that he never has to go back there. Part of me thought it was kind of harsh of the judge to take it to that level. And then part of me was like, okay, well, maybe that's his scare tactic to make sure this juvenile turns his life around and gets back on track. Whatever the case, whether you agree or don't agree with what he did, it really is something that I'll always remember. And I know there have been other judges while I've been practicing law that have pointed to jail cells and said, "Hey, do you want to go there? Do you understand that that's where you're going if you come back to my court and you're not behaving?" Not every judge will put a juvenile in there for no reason. And in fact, in Virginia and nationwide right now, there's a big push not to incarcerate or detain juveniles that don't need to be detained. But at the same time, we want to make an impression on them that court is not where they want to be, that breaking the law is not what they want to be doing, and that they have a whole life ahead of them to do better and to have a plan for what they want to do and how they can live out their lives. That's the only thing that the judges are trying to impress on these young people. As a juvenile defense attorney, I get a chance to work with them, to listen to what's going on with them, to figure out what their issues are and where maybe they need some services, to try to fight for them on their behalf, to say, hey, this kid doesn't need detention, this kid may not need probation, or this kid needs help, or this kid has other family issues going on, things that a prosecutor may not otherwise know. That puts me in a big position to give these kids the help that they need and to get them on the right path. Or in cases where they're charged and they shouldn't be, a way to get these cases dismissed or fight for them in trial. I'm always going to give them my all because they have their whole entire lives ahead of them. And I truly believe that most kids, if you can get them back on the right track, can do really, really great